Welcome to Scout Shabbat. We are here this evening to honor scouting in America, and we appreciate all of the wonderful scouts who are here from 1920, from 313. We have a couple of Cub Scouts here. Thank you very much. And at this time, I'm going to turn this over to our service leader for this evening, our actual freshly new first-class scout, Seth Mullis.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I would like to invite Nathan and Kaylee for opening flag ceremony.
Use the microphone. Everybody please rise.
And speak into it.
Group attention. Color guard, advance. Color guard, post the colors. Scout salute. If you are not in uniform, place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
2. Color guard dismissed.
Scout sign. Please join me in the Scout oath. On my honor, I will do my best
to do my duty, to God and my country, and amid Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
No. A Scout sign. Scout law. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Outdoor code. As an American, I will do my best to be clean in my outdoor manners, to be careful with fire, to be considerate in the outdoors, and to be conservation-minded. 2. Please be seated.
Does everybody have a pamphlet? If you do not, let us know. We'll see if we can get you some. We did, just to set things up for you, if you've never been to a Scout Shabbat service before, you are going to hear a different language than you've heard before. We do a lot of prayers in Hebrew. A lot of the songs are in Hebrew. However, knowing that you guys are going to be here tonight, I did pick some melodies that had some pieces in English for you to help follow along. Those are going to be in the pamphlet that you have, and we'll let you know where those are. Also, just to let you know, we're going to roll this out in a little bit because when we pull out our Torah and come, and I'll be reading it this evening, I'm going to ask the scouts to come up so they can look over my shoulder while I'm reading so they can see what it is. If you have any questions, please come and see me after the service. Happy to answer them. And for those who are online on YouTube, welcome. If you are watching from home, you are part of our temple, and you yourself have children who are interested potentially in scouting, please let me know, and I'll get you in touch with our troop.
I'd like to call up Mr. Andy for a reading on page 126. No, wait, not Mr. Andy.
No. That is my fault. I'm sorry. Go ahead. It's on the paper. That is totally my fault.
Chastity and Delaney.
Who is the Troop 1920 chaplain and new quartermaster.
I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics, and no services. But I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love.
As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love the dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us, and to bring that vision to life.
Words to songs were supposed to be in here. I don't see them. So we will do our best to help you through some of these. Seth, where are we going next, sir?
Please join me and my dad for Hine Matov on page 128.
Hine Matov is a prayer that says, quite simply, it is great that we are all here together, which is perfect for a night like this when we are. So the little bit of English that I will teach you is, repeat after me, how good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. So I will tell you when to say that. It's easy. Hine matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. 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 Here we go. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Very good. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. Try it again. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. Sheberachim gam yachad. Sheberachim gam yachad.
I'd like to invite, wait, who?
Your mother.
Oh. I would like to invite,
Which we may have to go and get her. I'm sure you could. Could you run in and grab? There she is.
oh,
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our day, be among those who kindle light.
Now that we've greeted Shabbat,
Now that we've greeted Shabbat, let's take a moment to greet each other. We'll just take 2 minutes, say hello to somebody that you don't know, and just say Shabbat Shalom to them. For those who, I'll teach you your first word, Shalom, which also, say it, Shalom. Typically, it means it's a greeting, hello and goodbye, but it actually means peace. That's the literal translation of the word. Shabbat is the Sabbath, Shalom is peace. When we say Shabbat Shalom, we're wishing each other a peaceful Sabbath. Now take a moment.
oh, please join us on page 130 for Lachun Ranana. Page 130.
So during our services, we sing a lot of songs to God. Lachuna Ranana is one of those songs. And a word that you're going to learn throughout the night, Adonai. You're going to hear that a lot tonight. Adonai is the Hebrew word for God. And there's going to be reasons to remember that when we bring the Torah out later. Lachuna Ranana, Yai lai 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 lai, Adonai, Yai lai 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 lai, Naharia, Yai lai 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 lai, Luxor Hisheinu, Yai lai 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 lai. Let us sing out to God, the maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation from mountain to sea hear our song. Lachuna Ranana, Yai lai 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 lai. Adonai, Yai lai 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 lai. Naharia, Yai lai 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 lai. Sor Hisheinu, Yai lai 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 lai. For all of the wonder in all of God's light, so now let us listen with all of our hearts to hear God's voice. Lachuna Ranana, Yai lai 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 lai, Adonai, Yai lai 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 lai. Naharia, Yai lai 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 lai, Luxor Hisheinu, Yai lai 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 lai, Yai lai 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 lai, Yai lai 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 lai.
Please join us on page 138 for Lachado D.
So Lachado D is a prayer that welcomes the Sabbath, welcomes Shabbat, with a figurative bride. And what we're going to do is, now, underneath all of the Hebrew, which I'm sure all of you have figured out by now, I mean, now that you're here, underneath of that is that transliterated. So you see a lot of the words kind of spelled out in English. And then there's the English translation. You're welcome to follow along in the English translation. You're welcome to figure out if you can follow along in the transliteration. Either one works. We are going to do the first verse, the second verse, and we're going to skip over to the fifth verse at the top of 139, and then we're going to rise and say the final verse, verse 9 at the bottom of that page. Lacha lacha dodi, likrat likrat kala, pene pene Shabbat nechabala. Lacha lacha dodi, likrat likrat kala, pene pene Shabbat nechabala la 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 lacha lacha dodi, likrat likrat kala, pene pene Shabbat nechabala. Lecha lecha dodi likrat likrakala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nechabela. First verse. Shamor v'zachor b'di borecha. Ishli anu el hamiuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad. L'shem tiferet v'liti la 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 lecha lecha dodi likrat likrakala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nechabela. Lecha lecha dodi likrat likrakala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nechabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mekor habaracha mirosh mekedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machashavat achila la la lecha lecha dodi likrat likrakala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nechabela. Lecha lecha dodi likrat likrakala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nechabela. Hitorari Kiva orech umiyuri Iri shir daveri Kavod anonai ala yichig la 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 lecha lecha dodi likrat likrakala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nechabela. Lecha lecha dodi likrat likrakala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nechabela. If you are able to, please rise and turn and face the door, and that is where our Shabbat bride will enter. Bo'i v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha u'sahola toch emunei am segula. Bo'i chala, bo'i chala, la 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 lecha lecha dodi likrat likrakala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nechabela. You can face forward. Lecha lecha dodi likrat likrakala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nechabela. La 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 lecha lecha dodi likrat likrakala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nechabela. Lecha lecha dodi likrat likrakala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nechabela. You may be seated.
Please join us on page 144 for Chatzi Kaddish.
Kaddish is a blessing that, as you can see at the bottom, marked by long strings of synonyms of praise. So this is one long praise to God. Yikadahal v'yikadash me rabba v'mal nivrach rute v'amlik machute v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye de kol beit Yisrael bagala bagala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen yehesh me rabba mavarach Alam molal me almaya Yitbarach Yishtabach V'yipar V'yitwarman V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitalev V'yitalal Shemei Kudsha Rechum Le'ela Min Kol B'chapta V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Damiran Ba'alma Imru Amen. One other word that you'll have found in there, I said the word Yisrael. So whenever you hear that, you'll hear that again tonight. Translated is Israel. When we say it in this book or when we read later, it actually means the people of Israel. So Jewish people around the world, or at the time, the people who were wandering the desert before the state of Israel was created in the 1940s. Yes, 1948.
Please join us on page 146 for Balchu.
So please rise Now what we're doing is we're going to transition into our actual Shabbat piece. What we've done up to this point has been preparing. Most of the time, a lot of that's done before the sun goes down. But since we didn't start at 5 o'clock, pretending the sun has gone down. And this is what we call our call to worship. So everything up to this point was kind of just songs and songs of praise. And now we're calling ourselves to worship so that our prayers can really begin. Seth's going to stand in front of the ark. And when the time is right, you'll see him bow. When you see him bow, bow along with him. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Baruch et Adonai Hamborach. Baruch Adonai Hamborach. L'olam ba'ed. L'olam ba'ed. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. So other words that you're going to hear throughout tonight. Baruch means bless. Baruch atah Adonai, which I said was God. That always means bless you, God. So we always start our prayers that way. Spencer, come on up. Remain standing as we turn to page 152. This is called the watchword of our people, the watchword of our faith. Shema Yisrael. The word Shema means to listen or to hear. So as you read along, we're asking God is asking us to hear that He is one. God is one. Spencer will show you how to do this in sign language. You're welcome to follow along. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Echad means one. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod malchuto La'olam va'ed, which means forever and ever. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto La'olam va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Very good, very good. You may all be seated. Except for you, Spencer, stay up here. Go over and join your brother. Page 154. That's okay. We turn to page 154.
Hayom malvavecha, shinatam v'necha, v'divata bam, v'shivdecha b'veitecha, uvleftecha v'adera, ushachbaha uvumecha, uvatam le'yod al yadecha, v'hayulato tafot b'neinecha, taftam, al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, antis keru, asitem mekol mitzvotai, item loshim alehem, ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeitzi etchem, me'eretz Mitzrayim, Yochahem Elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem.
Thus you shall remember to observe all of my commandments, and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. Thank you, Spencer. Now you may sit.
Hold on. We doing?
Did I not put their names? I didn't put their names in. That's Nathan and Delaney.
Okay. I would like to invite Nathan and Delaney for page 159. What? Oh.
Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, on earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, for soldiers now home, to live no more. The song of the world redeemed, the song of peace.
Thank you, guys.
Please join us on page 158 for Mi Chamocha.
Mi Chamocha is a prayer as the Israelites were at the sea, being fled away from Egypt. They asked a question. Who is like you, God? Who does the things that you do? Yes, Spencer. Sure, come on up. Who is like you? Who does the things that you do? When Moses and the children were at the sea, they sang to you with songs of joy. Mi chamocha v'ha'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, norah tehilot, osei belech, malchut chara'u v'hanecha, Lokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, Ze'eliyanu v'hamru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Who is like you? Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? When Moses and the children crossed the sea, they sang to you with songs of joy. Who is like you, Adonai? Mi chamocha v'ha'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, norah tehilot, osei And teach you one more word that you're going to hear in a little bit. Moshe is actually the Hebrew word for Moses. So, the name Moshe, Moses' name, Moses, and you'll hear that in a little bit. Thank you again, Spencer. Don't wait for me.
Please turn to page 160 for Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu is a prayer about lying down and going to sleep. It's a nighttime prayer. I actually heard somebody online say it was a Jewish lullaby. But, and unfortunately, again, I apologize. This was supposed to be in your bulletin, but there's a song that has a little bit of English in it called Let There Be Love. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. I believe that's actually in the book on that page. Yep. 161. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Ashkivenu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'Chayim Ufrosalenu Sukat Shlomecha. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Don't let your brother distract you.
Please turn to page 162 for Vishamru.
Vishamru is a prayer that literally says the people of Israel will keep Shabbat through all ages. It is a sign between God and the people of Israel. It's the covenant. We do things a little differently here. Our covenant is on a Caribbean island. I'll let you know when. Try to repeat after me when I tell you. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat ledorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Try this. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, not bad, את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. שבת וינפש. לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. לעשות את השבת לדורותם So we're going to transition into our Torah service. And before we do that, everybody rise for me for a moment. And I want you to take the opportunity to just take a private moment with God for your own private prayer of whatever it may be. All right, so what we're going to need, Mike and Mr. Ryan, who would mind coming up. Mr. Mark, if you would not mind coming up. We're going to turn now to what page, Seth?
362.
362. Please remain standing. I'm also going to need Miss... Ethan, would you like to carry tonight? Grab a tallis from the rack. So one of you on each side. And you guys are going to open that ark up. Just slide it open. Perfect. Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai v'ein k'maasecha malchutcha malchut ka'olamim u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'hador Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Adonai oz lamo yitain Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Bottom of 362. Avrachamim etiva v'irtzoncha et Zion tivnei chomot Yerushalayim tivnei chomot Yerushalayim Ki v'cha levad batachnu Melech ram v'nisa Adon olamim. Top of 364. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah Ki mitzion tetzei Torah Udevar Adonai Migrushalayim. The top of page 366. Baruch Shenatan Shenatan Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Lamo Yisrael B'Kedushato. So once again, we are going to say the watchword of our faith, which is the next line down. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Mo. Gadlu Adonai iti, uromama shmo yachdav. Lecha Adonai hagedula v'hagebrua v'hatiferet v'hanesach v'haod. Ki chol bashamayim uvaretz, ki chol bashamayim uvaretz. Lecha Adonai hamamlacha, v'ani naseh lechod rosh. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu vehishtachavu lechar kodsho. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu vehishtachavu lechar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. All right, you gentlemen may close the ark once he's finished putting that in. Yes. Thank you. And you guys can go back to your seats. Job. So we've done this in the past, and I'm going to offer it again. And I apologize, I don't know why that's turned myself down a little bit. Ah.
We have different books. We on page 500 of Hebrew.
Now, scouts, if you would like to come up, the reason I brought this down here, you're welcome to come up, stand behind me, and look at what I'm reading. And I'll explain to you what I'm reading and why. So you guys are welcome to come on up, take a look. While you're walking up, I'll give it just a quick on what this is. The portion that I'm going to read, the Hebrew word is called trumah, T-E-R-U-M-A-H. Trumah in Hebrew means offerings. So if you go to church services or something like that, and you hear the words like burnt offerings or sin offerings, ram offerings, things like that, that is, trumah is the word for offering. Miss Pat, since you are our, and Miss Wendy, are you still active at all? Or are you a former leader? Good. I need you both up here for the Aliyah. Our lone Girl Scouts. Really? Come up here. Lynn. All right. Seth, where are you? Can you grab the prayers, please? It should be underneath the, underneath where the microphone is. So do I. Don't worry. I'm good. So what's going to happen is these three ladies are going to say a prayer before I read, and then I'm going to read, and then they will say a prayer afterwards. So whenever we read from the Torah, which is what this is, these are the 5 books of Moses. We are in Exodus right now. They will say a prayer first, and they will kiss the book, or the right, symbolically, right here. Baruch Adonai Barak Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Barak Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Now, this looks a little different than what's in the book, doesn't it? This is handwritten and doesn't have all the dots and the lines underneath, but the words remain the same. I'm going to say, Vadaber Adonai. We know what Adonai is, right? El Moshe, and I just taught you what Moshe was. Lemor. The word daber means to speak. So a lot of what we read says, God spoke to Moses. At this point in the story, Moses is up on Mount Sinai. God is giving Moses the 10 Commandments. And he's telling him to tell the people of Israel that I would like some things. So here he's saying, Vadaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, which means God spoke to Moses and he said, Daber el bnei Yisrael, tell the people of Israel, Vichulihi, to bring me, the word li means me, Vichulihi truma, offerings. Me'et kol ish asher yidvaru liboho hichu et trumaha. People whose heart is moved, people who want to bring me gifts, you will accept them. Thank you. V'zot ha-trumaha asher tihuhu me'itam. These gifts that you are going to accept are zahav, which is gold, vachesef, which is silver, unchoshehet, which is copper, utchelet, v'argamahan, v'tolaat shenihi, v'shesh. God's going to go on to tell Moses about things he wants to bring him, yarn and skins and all kinds of stuff. So he's going to tell him all this stuff. I'm going to skip down to the end of this, to Vasuli. And among that, he's also going to say, Vasuli mikdash v'shachanti betochan, which means bring me or create for me a sanctuary like this. Vasuli mikdash. Mikdash means sanctuary. V'shachanti, so that I, betocham, may be among you. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, you do. Actually, I'm going to leave this open so you guys can get a closer look at this. Down.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. About a year to actually scribe all this. You can come down. But it's all hand. It looks almost like calligraphy and very much different than what you see printed in the books. But it's the same stuff. So that word is Adonai. The same Adonai that's in the book that means God. El Moshe, which was Moses. It's the same word. So if you go to Israel, you'll see this as the main writing of things. Have you ever looked at a product that was made in Israel and you see the Hebrew on the back? It more looks like this than what's in your book.
Tricky part for the scribe, that's somebody who actually writes this, is to get it both left and right justified. So, when you have Microsoft Word, it's really easy, right? You just do the two columns. But when you're doing it all by hand, you have to kind of figure out what's going to be on each line. And what you find in the scroll is that some places the letters are really squished together because there's a lot of words that are long that have to be on one line, and other places where they're stretched. You could have one letter stretched out like this far, which makes it a little bit challenging to read sometimes, which is why we study pretty hard before we read out of the scroll.
And so, yeah, exactly. I was trying to get finish the line, finish it. Notice it is all the way down in the same spot. And so he has to write out that last, kind of like, oh, I didn't run out of room, so let me, That's exactly what that is.
And like most Middle Eastern languages, it's read from right to left.
Right. Seth, could you bring down the Mishaberach? Push. So we're going to say, so we on Friday evenings pray for those who are in need of healing, those who are in need of healing physically, mentally, spiritually. And whenever we do that and transition from Torah prayer, we cover the Torah. So that's why you see this here. Miss Pat, I'm going to do El Na. Would you come do it with me? Again, I apologize. This prayer could have been in the. We are. I'm getting there. Give me a second. Let me do it. But I have to get it together since I had to be down there too. So, as I mentioned, we're going to, at this time, pray for those who are in need of healing. In your booklet, you want to read names? Yep.
For healing, we pray for Amelia Parsons, Daniel Hurst, Fred Balkin, Gary Marco, Heather Mullis, Janet Schechner, Joyce Levy-Levin, Mandy Shanks, Natalie Latovsky, Oliver Fusel, Paul Cohen, Rosita Martin Nelson, Sherry Morris, Steve No Howell, Dave Durlam, and anyone else you care to call out their name from your seat as my hand comes by you. Anyone in your neighborhood, in your family. Could be that they're ill, could be that they're hurting, could be they're sad, depressed.
The words are El Na, Refana, Lanu. It's easy to pick up, I promise. El Na, Refana, La, Refana, Lanu. El Na, Refana, La, Refana, Lanu. Dear God of our ancestors, help us renew our faith. Grant us a perfect healing. Bring peace to all our days. Elna, Rifanala, Rifanalanu. Elna, Rifanala, Rifanalanu. Restore our strength of body. Help clarify our minds. Refresh our tired spirits. Rejuvenate our light. Elna, Rifanala, Rifanalanu. Elna, Rifanala, Rifanalanu. Thank you for all these blessings throughout our days and nights. We celebrate the journey, this precious gift of life. Elna, Rifanala, Rifanalanu. Elna, Rifanala, Rifanalanu. Elna, Rifanala, Rifanalanu. All right, we need to put this back. So, Mr. Andy, Mr. Shane, you guys come up. I'm going to have you guys open the ark this time. I'm going to need, where's Patrick and Evan? Okay. You sure? Okay. Yes. You can open the ark. Everybody please rise. Yeah, she can help. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael avi Adonai miad Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Eitz Chaim Chi Lamahazikim Ba V'tomcheha Meushar Derahecha Darchei Noam V'chom Tivotecha Shalom Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chadesh, Chadesh Yameinu Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem. And you may close the ark. You may all be seated. Thank you, gentlemen. Come on, give me a high five. Come on. Ah. So, I promise I will be briefer than past years. I know we're getting on in time. So, what else happened in this week? There's an inside joke whenever it comes to me and doing sermons, or what we call it a drosh, basically words of wisdom. I usually get the part of the story or the part of the Torah that is almost impossible to come up with some sort of talking points for. It's usually something about the law or something really weird that happens, and I have to go digging to try to figure out what to talk about. Not this time. This actually landed on almost the perfect thing to tie into scouting. We spend every week that we are at a meeting or at a special event or a night like this saying, my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country. I want you guys to ask yourself a question. You do not need to answer me. You do not need to raise your hand. When you say the scout oath, how many of you, just ask yourself internally, really pay attention to and God? A hard question to ask, especially in this day and age, where in our country, even though we have that in our Pledge of Allegiance under God, many people are forgetting about God. Most importantly, any of you, now you guys haven't, but any of my 313 folks have ever sat on a board of review with me will always ask about duty to God. What are you doing to fulfill that? In this portion that I read tonight, God asked Moses to tell the people to bring him offerings. The last line that I read was, build me a sanctuary so I may dwell with them. And after that, if you were to take the text after that, God then gives almost exact dimensions and instructions on how to build what they call the tabernacle, or what you would think of as a sanctuary. It is an Eagle Scout's dream because it is laid out exactly. You need to make it this wide by this long with gold rings in the dirt this far down with all of this stuff. And all the things he brought that he asked the people to bring, all of that are offerings for him. Why? God does not need ram skins and blue and purple yarn, and God doesn't need a sanctuary. He asked the people to build it so that God may be with them. Now, as a scout, what is our sanctuary? What, Spencer? No, take not a religious place. What is our sanctuary? nature, the outdoors. 313 is known for, they've known me long enough to know that I talk about reverence, being outside in nature. And when you are leaving a place better than you found it, that's duty to God. What God was asking Moses to ask the Israelite people to do wasn't menial. God created a covenant with the Jews. What he's asking for, what God was asking for, was one of the very first things in the Scout law. Loyal. Be loyal. Now, there's a common misconception that scouting, while religious, is sectarian. It's not. That's why I'm up here as a chaplain. The common thought is that scouting was created as a Christian organization. It really wasn't. It was not sectarian at all. In fact, even though in our country, the United States is mostly Christian in population, but there are many scouts of Jewish faith, Muslim faith, Hindu. I met one at West Point a couple years ago and had a wonderful conversation with him about faith. And duty to God doesn't necessarily mean mine, necessarily mean yours. The founder of Scouting, Lord Robert Baden-Powell, said, religion is not a component of Scouting. It is the whole of it. However, and I would say this is a debatable thing, he said. He said, religion is the key to happiness. Maybe. I do believe that religion is an enhancement to happiness. I will tell you that sitting up here and playing the piano every week, singing songs, brings me closer to my own spirituality. That's a big thing. So it is a key to my happiness. He also said that religion is not about necessarily, and I caveat this with necessarily because I'm going to challenge you guys at the end of this, not necessarily about going to church, coming to synagogue, or going to a mosque, or wherever you worship. It's not about how much of the Bible you know. It's not even about the theology of religion. Robert Baden-Powell said religion is first and foremost about knowing who, what God is. And that's a question that you ask yourself when I asked at the beginning. Do you pay attention to that in the oath? You have to find it for yourself. He said, secondly, after you've figured out who or what God is, the second part of religion is to live your life the way God has given it to you. And in that, here's where scouting comes into play. To be in service of others. Now, if you went to Scout Sunday, like many of us did, at our sponsor church, and I was there, and Seth was there, Pastor Mark made similar remarks to that. He talked about helping people to fish. They told a really nice story about that, and about being in service of others, being outdoors, being in service of others. That does not change with religion. Every religion has the golden rule. Ours does, Christianity does. All do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Duty to God is about service to others, according to Lord Baden-Powell. And then it got me thinking. Last year, for those who were here, I tied the Scout law to the Ten Commandments, and we did the FBI thing where we tied it all together, right, on the big board. I didn't have a board, but we did it in our minds. But I thought about which pieces of the law specifically, if you do them, are you contributing to duty to God? I came up with 4. I am almost positive there are more, but these are the 4 that I came up with. Loyal, courteous, kind, reverent. Why those 4? Because those are definitely 4 of the law that you cannot apply to yourself. Trustworthiness, I almost thought about, but I'm like, well, trustworthiness is kind of an inner thing. But loyalty, you're not loyal to yourself. You're loyal to others. You can be kind to yourself, but typically, you're kind to others. Courteous, that's definitely not something that you do to yourself. You're not courteous to yourself. You're courteous to other people. And reverent. Nobody should be reverent to themselves. You are always reverent to something else, whether it is God, whether it is nature, whether it is anything that you revere. The word reverence comes from the word revere. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a person, but it's definitely not you. So when we say the Scout Oath, God and my country, begin to think about how that ties in with the Scout Law and what you do on a daily basis. Believe it or not, the simplest acts of kindness serve God, because you are serving God by being loyal, by being kind, by being courteous, by being reverent. Now I'm going to give you one last challenge. I said at the beginning, we do have a problem in this country. And not many people like to talk about it, but I do. I've connected back with my faith after a long time of not really being part of it. I jumped back in with both feet. Lead our choir, teach our kids, have us all involved. I'm the music director here. I co-chair our religious practices committee. I have been the Secretary of Education here. Or Vice President of Education when we had that. I've jumped back in, and it has brought me closer to God than I've ever been. And I live for the nights that I'm here. When I said, by the way, that you guys being here would make the chaplain happy, not just because of your attendance. One of the other tenets of duty to God is respect for others' beliefs. You have to respect and have your own beliefs. You have to. But you're here because you have the respect of us and our temple to spend the evening here with us. And that means a lot. And that is a large tenet of duty to God. Having your beliefs and respecting the beliefs of others. That's huge in scouting. I'm going to leave you with this. I came back to here, and it's brought me closer to God. Maybe there's a church you used to go to when you were a kid. Maybe you don't have a place to go. Maybe. Take a Sunday morning. Go to that church you used to go to. If you're looking for a place to go, find one. Harford County has a ton of them. We do not proselytize. That's not what we do. But we're always here on Friday nights. And the doors are always welcome to anybody who wants to come and worship God. You might learn a little Hebrew here and there, like you did tonight. Try to connect back with God, because that will make the oath that much more powerful and meaningful to you. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country. Shabbat Shalom. Seth, take us home.
Please turn to page 586 for Aleinu.
And please rise. These are our final praises for God for the evening. And this is the one that is at the top of the page. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latek gdula l'otzer breshit, shehu noteh shamayim v'yaser haaretz, u'moshav yikaroh bashamayim mimahal, u'shchinatu zo begove meromim, hu Eloheinu Eino, v'anachnu korim, u'vishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Please turn to page 591. V'ne'emar v'hai Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shmo echad. You may be seated. Now, we do turn our thoughts to those who have left this earth, who have passed both recently and on their anniversary of. And just to let you know, and somebody had asked, Mr. Andy had asked earlier, when you come in and you see the plaques on the side of the walls, what are the lights for? Those are the lights of those who are being remembered this week. And that is Andrew Klein, Bernice Sikornik, Dr. Irvin Waxman, Hannah Hirsch-Cohen, Ida Singer, Jane Shore-Melnick, Joanne Barlow, Joseph Klein, Joseph Sachs, Kate Blumenthal, Lavetta Goldman, Lois Ratner, Louis Schneck, Paul Vogelhut, Rebecca Brown, Reverend Joseph Gast, Richard Merricken, and who, in a loving memory of who has recently passed, Myron Mike Hurwitz, remembered by his daughter Raina Richardson, Linda Topol, remembered by her husband Robert Topol, and Robin Sandlevy, remembered by those who are in mourning or observing yard site. Please rise. The mourner's Kaddish is on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Alma divrach urute v'amlich malchute, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dekol beit Yisrael, v'agala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mavarach La'alam Olme Olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal. Shemei Dekudsha Brichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Amiran ba'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba min Shemaya. Chaim Aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh Shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who have died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. Zichrona livracha. May their memories be for a blessing. Mr. Mark, do you have any temple announcements for this week?
Ladies first.
Smart.
Thank you. Brownie points, Girl Scout brownie points. Shabbat Shalom. I wanted to make an announcement to our congregants, and I'd like to invite all of you to come back to our Purim Carnival coming up next month. It's great fun. But we have our sisterhood has our fundraiser every year at this time where we offer to buy greetings for all of our congregants. And through that, we raise funds to help support our synagogue and our community. This Wednesday for our congregation is the deadline at midnight. I would like to say that I have received emails back saying they were not delivered. So if you have not received an email from Sisterhood about our Purim project and where to click in for your link to contribute and for your greetings, call either Marcia or myself, because there have been several that have not gone through. So, and if you have any questions and you need any help, we're right there to help you get signed up and explain everything to you. Thank you so much.
And just want to mention a few happy things tonight. We are celebrating happy birthday to Lonnie Samuels. It is Brian and Tammy Folis's anniversary this week. We have a birth. Brooks Carter Long, born February 19th, great-grandson to Barb Latofsky and grandnephew to Natalie Latofsky. And thank you for last week's Oneg sponsors, the Harrison, McAndrew, and Nathan families. And coming up, so next week, next Friday night is going to be a big night here. All of our new members who've joined over the past year or so, roughly, we're going to celebrate, introduce them, and there's going to be a dinner beforehand. And during the dinner, Rabbi Mika is going to talk about her recent trip to Israel and the things that she learned there about trying to help with some of the positive publicity for Israel. Let's see, Pat mentioned the Purim Carnival. One other thing I do want to mention, it'll be in the newsletter, the World Zionist Congress, which is basically a global group that has input into policies in Israel. That election is coming up starting March 10th. So if you are a Reformed Jewish person, like most of us here at the Temple of Das Shalom, really important to get out there and vote. They only charge you $5, and you can vote the Reform platform, and hopefully that will bring better things to Israel. We'll leave it at that. That's it. Thanks, Mike. Oh, and thank you, Mike, and Seth for leading services tonight. Very, very well done.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Seth, for helping lead our services tonight. Look, it is. I'm getting there. I am getting there. I should say, this is not easy. So imagine a 14-year-old trying to help hold this whole thing together. So Seth, Amazing job as always. The last time he had to do this was his bar mitzvah, so so soon it will be old hat for him, but marvelous job. Thank you, Lynn, for holding down our technology tonight. This is on YouTube if you want to go back and watch it later, or watch subsequent services and fun things that we do here. That is on our YouTube channel. Thank you, everybody who is tuned in this evening. I believe from even like down in Florida, right? Very nice. Very nice. So, hopefully soon, Scouts will become Scout adult leaders. And someday, there will be a new generation of Scouts that come in, that take our place, and carry on the legacy of Scouting in America. And so my final song for the night for us, which I wish was in the book, but is called L'Dor Vador. L'Dor Vador literally means from generation to generation. And like the Jewish people and our generation to generation, Scouting will live on with generation to generation as well. We are gifts, we are blessings, we are history in song. We are hope, we are healing, we are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories, we are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. L'Dor Vador nagi God lecha. L'Dor Vador, we protect this chain from generation to generation. L'Dor Vador, these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our heart, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that would part. We are blessed and we are holy. We are children of your way. And the words that bring us meaning, we will have the strength to say. L'Dor Vador nagi God lecha. L'Dor Vador, we protect this chain from generation to generation. L'Dor Vador, these lips will praise your. L'Dor Vador nagi God lecha. L'Dor Vador, we protect this chain, protect this chain. Generation to generation. L'Dor Vador, these lips will praise your name. L'Dor Vador, these lips will praise your name. Thank you. If I had known, I'd have waited for you.
The guard thought there was an emergency, but there was not.
Okay. Yes, I did, and I couldn't answer because I was playing. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Nathan, Ms. Delaney, would you like to retire the colors? We're going to retire the colors very quickly, and then we will go in for what we call our oneg, which basically means delight. It is our after service, as I said, our light refreshments. So. I want to thank everybody for being here this evening, and I definitely want to thank everybody who participated in either opening the Ark. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, Delaney. Thank you, Chassie, for reading. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Shabbat Shalom.